Alright, hello, here we go. Welcome back. Back to church. Bo. I know I am already waiting on a new camera to come in, so bear with me here. But I wanted to get a good first video episode out because I'm gonna have a couple more video episodes recorded here in the next few days, also with this camera, so just bear with it. It will be fixed as soon as possible, but I'm about to talk to some people on Zoom over the next few days and get some good talks back and forth, or whoever ends up watching this to watch. Right? So, welcome back. Told you we're constantly trying to innovate here at the Church of Bo, and the longer you stick with us, the better it'll be overall for experience for you, for us, by us. You know what I mean? So this week, I wanted to talk about some UFO experiences that I found really interesting. I don't know why. I guess I must be one of latecomers. I had never heard of the Phoenix Lights incident, which was like an event in Phoenix, in Arizona, where I believe, I don't know how many people saw a bunch of UFOs fly by to like varying degrees, and like some actors saw it. I'll read through it in a minute, but it was crazy to me. Let's see what I can pull up here. Let's see that. Yep, there we go. The Phoenix Lights refers to a mass UFO sighting on March 13, 1997, where thousands of people in Arizona and Sonora, Mexico, reported seeing a large V-shaped formation of lights in the sky, leading to speculation about extraterrestrial activity. So, this is really interesting because thousands of people, the events where hundreds, even, maybe even tens of people all come back with the same exact story, especially when it's like of varying professions, people who are lawyers, people who are scientists, people who are in whatever domain and field end up coming up and for some reason talking about this weird story or thing that they'd seen. And they have no reason to, risk their professional credibility to have people think they're lying for no reason or to spread, lies. So whenever a mass sighting happens, I like to look at it a couple times, and, if I ever meet somebody from Arizona who I know was living in Arizona in '97, I'll make sure to ask if they saw the Phoenix Lights, because that's probably a story you don't want to miss. Let's look further here. Sighting occurred at 7:30 and 10:30 p.m. Thousands of people across the border to Tucson. Reports do. Movie came out about it. Possible explanations. While the Phoenix Lights remains a mystery for many, some suggest that the lights were military flares or other earthly phenomena, such as a rocket launch. The event has fueled speculation and theories about extraterrestrial activity. Oh, that was witness testimonies. One of the witnesses, Dr. Lynn Kite, captured what she described as a mile-wide triangle-shaped craft with 6 distinct lights, and she claims to have photographic proof of the UFO visiting Phoenix 2 years prior to the mass sighting. See, a doctor. Why would she just make all that up? That seems odd. Other notable witnesses, actor Kurt Russell. I have no idea who Kurt Russell is outside of his name. I've heard that name before. I've heard of him as an actor before for some reason. I don't know who he actually is, or, if I even see him in a movie, I won't be able to be like, oh, that, no. But yeah, as you can see, there's not much debate on this. People saw something, thousands of people in Mexico and Arizona saw these things, and all we have to go off of are their reports. But nobody knows what it really was. There's no, no government message came out saying that they were testing anything at that time, and it's nothing to worry about. So, it could be anything. 1 second here, and we're back. So, I think that to me, the mass sightings are always better because it's a lot harder to discredit thousands of people or even 100 people. And usually in those cases, it's a lot harder to have any reasonable explanation of what all those people are making that up. And I pulled a couple that I think are really interesting. So here, let's close that one out. Got Fatima in Portugal. While Fatima apparitions are widely known as religious events involving the Blessed Virgin Mary, some individuals and books explore a connection between the Fatima events and UFOs. So, the one I had heard of that should be mentioned somewhere here was that I believe it was like 3 kids at first who had started seeing this like late, and it was like some little girl and her cousin were playing, and her like cousin fell off of like where they were playing and landed onto like an electric fence, and was supposed to like have died or something, and she like prayed and like wished that he would be fine or that she would throw herself on there too. And nothing happened, so she threw herself on there too. And I think she said that like she saw some like angel lady that had like saved both of them, and like they were taken to the hospital somehow, and the doctors said that it was like a miracle that they were alive. And apparently they saw that lady like after that, like every month for like 3 months, and then on the day of like the actual event in Fatima, Portugal, or wherever in Portugal it happened, she appeared like in the sky to like thousands of people. Let's see. The events at Fatima, yeah, it's its place, are traditionally seen as a series of apparitions of the Blessed Virgin Mary to the 3 shepherd children between May and October 1917. Yeah, I wasn't off. I don't think I even read this. On October 13th, 1917, a large crowd had gathered at Fatima, and it is claimed that the sun appeared to dance in the sky, emitting multicolored light, radiant colors, an event known as the Miracle of the Sun. The children recounted that the Virgin Mary gave them a message for humanity, which included warnings about the consequences of sin and the importance of prayer and penance. You know, I'm sure they were given their own messages, and kids are probably told that too later in school and stuff when they're all talking about it. Like, what the fuck happened? That shit was mean. There's a book on it as well. Historical analysis. The authors of Heavenly Lights claimed to have examined the original documents of the incident and found connections between the events and other UFO episodes. The events could be explained as a series of close encounters with the alien beings rather than a religious miracle. See? And I feel like Portugal probably has, that's been well documented for a long time now. So they should have at least some record of like either people writing to themselves in their journal all about that day or actual government, notes about it it if she appeared in front of a bunch of people. I don't know. But sometimes I like to think, I like to try to see what I can put up with my mind. Last one I have pulled up here is the Ariel School UFO incident in Zimbabwe, September 16th, 1994. And I'm sorry if you may have heard of these already. I'm very aware that these are all really popular stories, but I like to at least be able to, lay the basics of some like mass sighting events and stuff like this because I think it's important to know anyway. So, on September 16th, 1994, 62 students at Ariel School in Ruwa, Zimbabwe, claimed to have witnessed a UFO and alien figures in a field near their school, sparking a widely reported event, with some describing it as mass hysteria. Mass hysteria. This is a drawing by the kids of what they think happened or what they saw that day, and it looks like some kind of spaceship in between or behind some like bush or trees. Let's do it better. Ah, it's a spaceship. I think that's one of the kids seeing the spaceship. Oh, date and location, September 16th, 1994. We got that. 62 students aged 6 to 12 reported seeing a silver craft land and figures emerge. Descriptions. Children described a silvery disc landing. Figures with large eyes, red eyes, they said. I don't know if they were red. That was one in Brazil, actually. And telepathic communication with an environmental theme. Seems like a lot of these aliens and like these mass sightings that speak to people always have some sort of like be better message or some sort of positive speech to give. Especially since it was all children that saw this one, so It's more important to give them a message, I guess. The head teacher asked the children to draw what they had seen, and the drawings depicted similar UFO type crafts and alien figures. Some believed it might be mass hysteria. But that's all we got. That's all we know about that one. And, you know, what is. I mean, the teacher also saw it. What gets me oftentimes is they'll do like 30 years later, 50 years after the fact. And they'll like every 10 or so years, some people, whether it's like news organizations or whatever, they'll go and they'll do an anniversary story checking up on like the surviving witnesses and what do they remember from what happened and like have they met up with any of the other kids or their classmates or whatever, who had also witnessed these same things. They come together, they end up having some sort of discussion after being like on the news because they both like still recount the exact same thing. And they, probably everybody they've tried to talk to about it has been like, you are crazy. What are you talking about? Get out of here. No, you know. So, whenever they have these and they bring these people back together, like I saw one in Brazil at the Varginha, Brazil accident that was like a documentary on Netflix. I think that one was 30 years after the fact. They went and like found the three girls who had all like witnessed this crazy thing. And they talked to them and the girls like all had the exact same stories that they had on the news like before and they were all like still just as freaked out. They barely like really talked about it or anything when they didn't have to. And in Varginha, it was these three girls who witnessed the thing, but there's like a number of stories because apparently a lot of people actually had to like witness and deal with like whatever they recovered because it was like picked up by like some like military people and then apparently transferred to like US military people who ended up like getting some kind of like autopsy and like the first guy who like forget if it was like a park ranger or something like that but the first guy who like ended up like carrying the alien that like had crashed or whatever had fallen out he carried some shit that fell out. Look into it. It's a really interesting story. But yeah, apparently some guy carried like either an alien or something that fell out of an alien's ship and like took it to like some like other military guys and like the guy who touched it initially was like the only one who would like just barehanded it, like put it in a bag or whatever. And he got like really sick after that. I'm pretty sure he died because he had like radiation on his hands. Crazy. But, I'm sure the people, apparently there were some doctors who had seen it also, but I'm sure, the girls who had seen that and are probably the only ones like still alive really to talk about it or willing to still since I don't know, I don't think they got any interviews with anybody else besides maybe like one of the hospital staff or a doctor who had to like do an autopsy apparently on the alien. And they said that like the hospital just smelled horrible in that whole like area of the hospital for like weeks. They got the walls cleaned, like somebody had like pooped and like had explosive diarrhea in every direction, and it still smelled for weeks until it stopped smelling. Crazy though, there's a lot of these events. They happen all over the world. They happen all the time. I just wonder, what does that mean? Are they alien peoples, flying in from somewhere? Are they like that guy David Grush was talking about on the news articles where he said it was interdimensional beings where like they're kind of in the same world or like, space where we are, where Earth is, but they like have to travel through dimensions, however that works, to be able to like come and fuck with people and abduct them and shit. I don't know, but I like to wonder. I like to try to put this shit together, at least to have some form of a solid idea about aliens and space and all that type of shit to whatever extent I can, I guess, from hearing people who actually know about it talk about it and remembering, I guess, the parts I liked the most. It's an interesting process. Life. Life begets life. I've seen a lot of videos recently about like Nikola Tesla and a bunch of like his inventions and had this quote where he said something like if people knew the power of like energy, frequency, then vibrations, and the power of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, they would be like a much better world or something. We would access the secrets of the world. And I'm not gonna lie, I've seen a lot of stuff that talks about it, tries to break it down, tries to explain it rationally, and the longer I look at it, the longer I'm confused. The longer I will sit there and try to think later and after the fact about, okay, well, if this and that, and okay, and all right, let me find some videos talking about 3, 6, and 9. And that shit just confuses me to hell. Like, I get that it's got something to do with like a Fibonacci sequence of number type pattern situation, but I guess I'm not that mathematically inclined to where I can start to deduce logical reasoning that applies to all things through just numbers and understanding a pattern of numbers. I guess not yet, I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not saying, I would definitely be for that. I will definitely be the first one to sign up if there's any, you know, college or Peterson school offering free class. I'm there. But I don't know. I mean, I still I used to wonder honestly a lot more, but I still wonder how like the Greeks would see all of these like stars in the sky and be able to just form recognizable patterns that they could basically recognize anywhere they would travel to of like constellations. Like I get that everything was much darker, the earth was much darker at night all the time, so you could see way more in the sky. But that would mean that there's a lot more interference too. So you gotta really pick out like the bright clusters to be able to make like the patterns. I don't know. I just feel like that was not an easy job. But there was probably a lot of people in, any advanced societies that would just be drawing like the night sky basically every night or paint a piece of paper black and then start trying to dot what they see through like a telescope or something. You know, I don't know. I know there's a lot of people doing a lot of crazy work, things that you would not imagine people are getting paid to do. There are more than enough people getting paid. I heard recently that there were over 1,400 positions, I believe at the IRS, that their only job, the position's only job, is to hand out laptops and like tablets when people are signing up, or not signing up, but signing in for the first time to work at the IRS. And I just thought that was amazing. Why had nobody ever told me about this job? Is there 1,400 because they have like 1,400 offices? I don't understand. Because if, they have that many open positions, you feel like you would hear about it and be able to at least apply out of college. Sounds like the perfect job for somebody out of college. So you just stand at the IRS all day, and whenever a new employee walks in, you give them their laptop. I don't know. Just sounds crazy. You just give them a laptop, tablet. If they need help knowing how to sign in or whatever, just tell them to Google it. That's it. You don't gotta get nobody coffee. You don't have to pretend to like these people. And you're making a government wage with government health benefits, top of the line medical care and pricing. What is going on? You know, I don't know, but somebody has to be looking into it, right? Well, I think that'll do it for our first video episode. I'm gonna try to have some more topics ready for next time. And, uh, keep it going a little longer than 30 minutes or so. But if you stuck around, I appreciate you. Love y'all, Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stick around, hang on. It's only going to be getting better from here. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy your weekend. Kill the next week. We got guests coming in next week, potentially more. See what we can do. Love you guys. Stay classy.